21st, and this is your coffee break on the HAN network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including the search for a man who exposed himself to young women in Milford, suspects caught on camera using a stolen credit card, and much more. Frank Granito joins us with a look at the forecast and a Nutmeg Sports update. Donna Lang will take a look back on this day in history, and later in the show, John Kovach joins me to take a look at our front pages of our HAN network newspapers this week. But first, on to today's news. Police are looking for suspects that used a stolen credit card at a Target in Trumbull. The card was stolen from a gym bag that was inside a car that was parked outside Fairfield Ward High School back on July 1st. The card was fraudulently used at a Target store located in the Westfield Trumbull Mall. The three suspects were captured on surveillance video using the victim's credit card to pay for merchandise. They were then seen exiting the parking lot in a newer model white four-door vehicle. The card was later used at a Stratfield Mobile in Fairfield. Anyone with information regarding the thefts or the suspects pictured is asked to contact Fairfield Police at 203-254-4840. And Milford police are looking for a man who may have exposed himself to a group of young women in the Anchor Beach area on Wednesday. According to a police news release, the Milford Police Department's Special Investigations Unit is investigating the incident, which they say took place Wednesday, July 20th at about 1:20 in the afternoon. According to police, a heavy-set white man approached a group of girls who are juveniles and sat down in an area behind them. The man then exposed himself to them. The man left the area on a bicycle heading toward Kings Highway when he realized that the girls were taking pictures of him. The man is described as having dark hair and a clean-shaven face, wearing a white tank top and dark-colored shorts, riding a mountain bike with silver handlebars. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Milford Police at 203-878-6551. And the Stamford Advocate reports that a 30-year-old Stamford man is fighting for his life after he lost control of his motorcycle on West Main Street Wednesday night. Jose Chacon Valverde was thrown from the motorcycle and is in critical condition in Stamford Hospital with life-threatening injuries. Chacon Valverde was riding his 2005 Harley-Davidson motorcycle in the right lane of West Main Street, approaching Miano Lane, when he lost control. As a result, Chacon Valverde was ejected off the motorcycle and onto the roadway, where he sustained serious head injuries. Police said that alcohol and drugs do not appear to be a factor in this crash. Any witnesses are asked to contact the Stamford Police Department at 203-977-4712. And officers from the State Police Narcotics Unit arrested a Groton City woman in connection to the sale of Molly and bath salts from a home there. 41-year-old Andrea Graff was arrested July 19th after a search warrant was served at her residence. Through the course of that search, detectives located 102 grams of marijuana packaged for sale, 2.3 grams of wax THC extract, 36 grams of MDMA, otherwise known as bath salts, packaged for sale, 60 grams of cocaine, as well as other drug packaging material and scales. And state police say anyone with information regarding the sale of illegal drugs is urged to contact their task force at 860-685-8190. And in Ridgefield, months of delay in the construction of the new Route 35 bridge near the Fox Hill condominiums will come to an end on Monday, July 25th, as work recommences on relocating the sewer line. However, the one-way traffic pattern may not resume along with it. That may not come until September at the earliest, when the bridge work resumes, according to John Durham, the district engineer for the state DOT. At that time, the state will announce when the road will be made into an alternating one-way passage during the course of construction, leading to backed-up traffic on Route 35 in both directions during the designated hours of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. A local businessman had pleaded for Ridgefield roads to be used as detours to avoid the traffic jams on Route 35, but state officials have no jurisdiction over those local roads, and the town has not announced any plans to provide a detour. There are approximately 1,100 cars per hour on Route 35 during the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. And the town of New Canaan is pleasing many residents as it's in the middle of an extensive road resurfacing project, but it has some other residents concerned about the tree damage left in the wake of super hot road paving machinery. A Carter Street resident said he counted about 75 trees and shrubs that now have browned out branches and limbs that hang along the side of that road or directly above the road. The large machinery that applies hot tar and pavement to the streets apparently gives off so much heat that it kills some of the nearby foliage, whether evergreen tree, deciduous, or ground shrub. Asked whether or not the damage could sicken the plants or result in their death, Town Tree Warden Bob Horan responded to the Advertiser. He reported that he has seen similar damage from roadwork equipment here and in other towns, and he refers to the damage as a slight burn. Well, we are going to switch gears now and throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And it's another gorgeous day outside. Temperatures will get up into the 90s, though. An expected high of 92 degrees today. Humidity sitting right around 50% and winds around 10 miles per hour. It'll be sunny and clear throughout the afternoon and into the night, where we will have a low of 71 degrees. Friday, we can expect a partly cloudy day with temperatures reaching up around 93, 94 degrees and humidity as high as 65%. Chances of severe thunderstorms Friday until about midnight, but everything should pass through by Saturday morning, as that looks to be the hottest day of the week. Some clouds will be coming in early Saturday morning, but make way for plenty of sun in the afternoon. It will be very hot throughout the day and into the early evening, temperatures reaching as high as 96 degrees. And that is going to do it for this weather update, Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Donald Ang will take a look back on this day in history. Frank has a Nutmeg Sports update, and we have a lot more local news coming up after this. Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 1 million people have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment programming since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this July 21st edition of your coffee break on the HAN Network, and it's time to take a look back on this day in history with Donald Ang. Don, what do you have for us today?
Well, Kate, we're going to go all the way back to 356 BCE on this day. The Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, renowned for its beauty, destroyed by arson by a man, Herostratus, who set fire to the wooden roof beams, seeking fame at any cost. The temple was later rebuilt, and the Ephesians sentenced the perpetrator to death and what they called damnatio memoriae, that is, forbidding anyone to mention his name. Alas, the historian Theopompus later violated the attempt at erasing Herostratus from history by mentioning him in his history. To 1861, the first Battle of Bull Run takes place at Manassas Junction, Virginia. That is the first major battle of the Civil War, and it ends in a victory for the Confederate Army. The battle was an almost amateurish affair compared with what was to come. On a historical footnote, The Confederate battle flag, much in the news recently, was adopted after Bull Run because during the battle, commanders on both sides had trouble differentiating the Confederate Stars and Bars flag from the Union Stars and Stripes. To 1973, Lillehammer, Norway. Israeli Mossad agents kill Ahmed Bachiki, a Moroccan waiter, as he walked home from the movie theater with his pregnant wife. The assassins were carrying out Operation Wrath of God, a campaign against the militant group that had perpetrated the 1972 Munich massacre, and they mistakenly thought Bachiki was Ali Hassan Salama, one of the Munich leaders. 4 of the agents would be briefly imprisoned in Norway, and Mossad would actually kill Salama with a car bomb in 1979. That car bomb blast also killed 4 of his bodyguards and 4 civilians. Finally, now we go to 1969, perhaps one of the most famous statements in history. Here it is.
I'm going to step off the limb. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Columbia, Columbia, this is Houston, AOS, over. Houston, Columbia on the high gate, over. Roger, the EVA is progressing beautifully. They're setting up the flag now. I guess you're about the only person around that doesn't have TV coverage of the scene. That's all right, I don't mind a bit. They've got the flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the lunar surface.
That, of course, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin setting foot on the moon. Official mission time, 2:56 a.m. UTC, July 21st. UTC, by the way, stands for Coordinated Universal Time. Armstrong was never happy with his one small step statement, believing he was misquoted, as he intended to say one small step for a man. NASA was never happy that there are virtually no photos of Armstrong on the moon, and most of those show him from the back. In fact, the best known shot of Neil is a selfie, as you can see his reflection in Aldrin's helmet visor. Amazingly, having spent a decade to reach the moon, we would land there 6 times in 3 years and then never do it again. The closest any astronaut has come to walking on the moon in the last 45 years is Buzz Aldrin moonwalking on season 10 of Dancing with the Stars. That is your look back in history for today, July 21st, and I'm Donald Ing.
All right, Don, the moonwalk's great and all, but we have some Connecticut history we have to mention.
We do.
Lake Compounds
Yes.
shared this on their Facebook page. On this day in 1989, Milli Vanilli was caught lip-syncing on stage.
I know, yeah, that was one of the most famous events ever. They took their Grammy back and all of that. It just
Connecticut ruined them. We ruined Milli Vanilli.
It was
Oh, well.
Bristol, Connecticut. Who would have thought?
All right, Don, well, thank you so much, as always. Getting back to a little more news today, a national AAA roadside assistance study reports and says that the latest bells and whistles in your brand new car don't necessarily protect you from a breakdown. In fact, fancy add-ons and new car gadgets aren't a guarantee that your battery won't fail, your tires won't go flat, or you won't lock yourself out of your vehicles, according to the report. The AAA study also concludes that cars fewer than 5 years old that feature new car technology generally experience a higher proportion of tire and key-related issues than older vehicles because they're complex electronic designs. And in AAA Northeast Connecticut's territory, which includes New Haven, Litchfield, and Fairfield counties, the highest percentage of roadside assistance calls were for battery problems at 30%, flat tires 20%, lockouts at 9%, while another 11% were vehicles needing a tow, the remainder for miscellaneous reasons. But going to throw it back now to Frank Granito for a Nutmeg Sports Update.
Thank
Frank.
you very much, Kate. Let's start with some baseball. In the 10-year-old Cal Ripken Regional Tournament, the Norwalk team has advanced to the championship game for the 2nd consecutive year. After playing the first 20 innings of this tournament without surrendering a run, Norwalk found themselves trailing 3 separate times against Plymouth, Massachusetts by scores of 1-0, 5-3, and 6-4. Before Charlie Lafreniere hit a grand slam that gave Norwalk the lead for good in the game. They would beat Plymouth, Mass by a score of 9-6 and now face Dover, New Hampshire in the championship for a 2nd year in a row. Norwalk won regionals last year against Dover in the championship game, winning 11-1. They play tonight at 5 p.m. in Uxbridge, Massachusetts. Shifting gears here, 2 more of the Hearst Media's Connecticut All-Star teams have been announced, and there are plenty of FCIAC players who are scattered through both of those rosters. Let's start with softball, where the FCIAC placed a total of 6 players on the roster, along with the Coach of the Year. St. Joe's pitcher Nicole Williams and catcher Giovanna Williams were selected from the cadets, Danbury shortstop Julia Lehner was the lone Hatter that was chosen. And the Vikings of West Hill led the way with 3 players being voted on. Senior captain Adriana Gambino was joined by juniors Kaya Ronman and Jordan Benzakin to round out our FCX selections. St. Joseph's coach Jeff Babineau was voted Coach of the Year after leading the cadets to an FCX championship and state semifinal berth. Finally, the boys lacrosse all-star team has also been named, and the FCX left its mark, taking 14 of a possible 16 spots on the roster. The FCX and unanimous state champions Darien led the way with 5 players, as well as earning Coach of the Year honors. Mark Ivanchek was on the team and also named the state's MVP.
Fairfield police are looking for suspects that used a stolen credit card at a Target in Trumbull. The card was stolen from a gym bag that was inside a car that was parked outside of Fairfield Ward High School back on July 1st. The card was then fraudulently used at the Target store located at the Westfield Trumbull Mall. The 3 suspects were captured on surveillance video using the victim's credit card to pay for the merchandise. They were then seen exiting the parking lot in a newer model white 4-door vehicle. The card was later used at the Stratfield Mobile in Fairfield. Anyone with information regarding the suspects is asked to call the Fairfield Police at 203-254-4840. And Milford police are looking for a man who they say exposed himself to a group of young women in the Anchor Beach area on Wednesday. According to police, the Milford Police Department's Special Investigations Unit is looking into the incident, which they say took place on Wednesday, July 20th at about 1:20 in the afternoon in the area of Anchor Beach. According to police, a heavy-set white man approached a group of girls who were juveniles and sat down behind them, where he then exposed himself. The man left the area on a bicycle headed toward Kings Highway when he realized that the girls were taking pictures of him. The man is described as having dark hair and a clean-shaven face, wearing a white tank top and dark-colored shorts, riding a mountain bike with silver handlebars. Anyone with information can contact Milford Police at 203-878-6551. And the Stamford Advocate reports that a 30-year-old Stamford man is fighting for his life after he lost control of his motorcycle on West Main Street Wednesday night. Jose Chacon Valverde was thrown from that motorcycle and is in critical condition at Stamford Hospital with life-threatening injuries. Chacon Valverde was riding his 2005 Harley-Davidson motorcycle in the right lane of West Lane Street, approaching Miano Lane, when he lost control. As a result, he was ejected off the motorcycle and into the roadway, sustaining serious head injuries. Police say alcohol and drugs do not appear to be a factor in that crash. And tensions among Stratford Democrats have come to a head as the town's Democratic Town Committee is asking for Beth DuPont to step down as Town Council Chairman. In an open letter appearing in this week's Stratford Star, DTC Chairman Stephanie Phillips asked for DuPont to resign as chairman of the town's top board. Phillips calls for the resignation based on DuPont reportedly using an expletive when describing the town's south end during the recess of a June 13th council meeting. Phillips writes in her letter, "The South End residents are not second-class citizens, nor should they be treated as such. Even worse is that your comments further the distrust and anger in residents who already face remarks because of their socioeconomic income level and/or ethnicity." The letter is supported by other 4 Democratic councilors: Wally Kadim of the 3rd District, David Hardin of the 4th, Philip Young of the 6th, and Tina Manis of the 10th, along with 2nd District Council candidate Scott Farrington Posner. Hardin, though, says he is not specifically calling for DuPont to resign. He does want her to apologize for the remark. But you can get a lot more on that story at StratfordStar.com. And the Reading Board of Selectmen voted unanimously on Monday to prevent the installation of either temporary or permanent stop signs at Umpqua and Marchant roads. The West Reading Volunteer Fire Department and Reading Planning and Zoning Commission had encouraged selectmen to make a decision on the possibility of temporary stop signs, which were planned about 10 days ago as an administrative action by the police department. According to Selectman Michael Thompson, police and highway officials said at Monday's board meeting that they plan to install the temporary signs at the intersection as an additional traffic calming measure in the face of road construction on Route 53. The construction has caused the amount of traffic traveling on Umpqua Road to increase greatly. However, after hearing from Police Chief Doug Fuchs, who said only one accident has occurred on Umpqua since the closure of Route 53, Thompson and fellow selectmen felt there was little need for new stop signs. And Milford officials posted a message on the city's Facebook page this week in support of local police officers. The message says, in support of our law enforcement officers who protect and keep our communities safe, and in memory of those lost in recent tragedies in Dallas, Baton Rouge, and Kansas City, the lights atop Milford City Hall have turned blue. Local police spotted the message and thanked officials for their support. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, John Kovach joins me, and we're going to take a look at the front pages of our HAN Network community newspapers this week, coming up after this.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. The construction is incredible, whether it's the floors, the fireplace, the moldings, the lighting. It's as peaceful as my home was in the middle of the woods. It feels like a house. It does not feel like a condo or a townhome. I feel like I'm in my house.
Mosquitoes, ticks, gone. Guaranteed. That's what Mosquito Squad guarantees as America's most trusted mosquito and tick control company. Locally owned and operated, over 90,000 homes have been protected by Mosquito Squad using their dual protection method for season-long protection, which includes barrier spray service for eliminating mosquitoes and adult ticks, as well as supplemental programs to increase tick control. They use only USDA organic options, which are safe and non-toxic. Contact them today at www.squadctny.com or 203-893-4309. Mosquito Squad. No bugs, no bites, no kidding.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
When it comes to local entertainment, we've got it all.
From movies, local artists, etiquette, and more.
Watch HAN Arts and Leisure every Thursday at 2 on the HAN Network.
Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com. Warm weather, light.
We're back on this Thursday edition of Your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, joined now by our editorial director, John Kovach, because it's Thursday, so we got to take a look at the front pages of our papers this week.
Because it's Thursday and I'm not out catching Pokemon.
Well, is that how you want me to start with the Ridgefield Press?
Why don't you start with the Ridgefield Press?
Well, the Ridgefield Press's lead photo this week is a Pokemon Go scene, actually. St. Stephen's Church, there it is a Pokestop where users can collect the virtual creature known as Squirtle. And Jesse Lee Church has a sign outside that invites players to come and catch the virtual creatures. Now, downtown Main Street Ridgefield is absolutely gorgeous, so that's a really good place to play Pokemon Go, and there's a lot of cool stuff to discover. So I like that all these towns are embracing that. We should also mention that Summerfest is coming to Ridgefield this weekend. That's going to be closing down Main Street, livening up the town there. So very cool. And of course, this is a neat story on the little sidebar. Bodner's Ace dual winners. The golfer's dream, a hole-in-one, was met and exceeded by Sharon Bodner of Ridgefield on June 27th at a tournament in Richter Park in Danbury. She won a car for that hole-in-one.
Nice.
Yeah. So congrats to her.
Well, news is a little more heated as the weather heats up in Stratford. Politics just remains tremendously vitriolic there. Story you just brought us on Coffee Break, where Stephanie Phillips, who is chairman of the Democratic Town Committee, calling on Beth DePonte to resign as chairman of the Town Council. You have the future of Center School being debated amid talk of it being torn down, of parking being created there. That is the whole Mayor John Harkins versus the Town Council debate that's going on. The police have announced that they are not going to challenge the Freedom of Information ruling requiring them to reveal information about drones and surveillance equipment. And then what everybody needs is at the bottom of the page, and that was a vigil after the recent shootings in Baton Rouge and elsewhere, calling for unity.
Lots of people there. All right. Well, I am taking a look at the front page of the Weston Forum. Some more Pokemon Go craze. Like I said, a lot of towns are embracing that, so that's great to see. Also in Weston, police, fire, EMS weighing in on a dispatch center there. And Ray Routh of Weston completed a walk across Connecticut to raise awareness on pedestrian safety. So great Weston Forum this week.
More Pokemon being spotted in Monroe as their viral spread through the area continues. That in Monroe, people are wandering around. The library is involved with it, so it's a trend in all of our towns. The retirement of the assistant town clerk in Monroe, Terry DiGiovanna, after 30 years of service. The first West Nile virus finding of the year. That down in Stamford. I knew that was coming. Maybe we could get a Pokemon to fight that.
Yeah.
And Monroe honoring 2 veterans of World War II, excuse me.
All right. Well, taking a look at the front page of the Wilton Bulletin, some great photos, lead photos by Brian Hafely from the sidewalk sale there. Just a very adorable photo of a dog and a little girl. Love that. Also, Lauren Feltz being announced as the new Middlebrook principal. An 8-lot subdivision planned there, going before planning and zoning. And of course, more Pokemon Go comes to Wilton. It's everywhere.
I'm looking at Easton right now, where we don't have a lot of Pokemon. But I'm sure they're making their way there. They tend to travel in packs, I guess. But we do learn that Easton, like many of the towns in our area, is near the top of Connecticut in terms of per pupil spending. We have an interview with the Democratic candidate in the 28th State Senate District, and a story about parents leaders who tore down an old playground which is being replaced by the time school opens at Helen Keller Middle School.
All right, John, taking a look at the front page of the Milford Mirror this week. Neighbors convincing aldermen there not to sell a city parcel. And I love this. Jill Dion had a great video that's on milfordmirror.com. We played a bit of it on Monday, but they took a look in that memorial tower that's in the center of downtown Milford, and there's not much in there, but it was cool. She got a key and she took a look behind it and did a little video explaining what she found. Let's just say it was mostly pigeon droppings.
It was a very cool video. It may not have been the most pleasant place to visit.
Yeah, that's why it was nice that Jill Dion did it for us.
I'm very happy with that. But she did a great job. She really does enjoy the videos. One of those people who's embraced this new direction for the HAN network and really done a great job.
You can watch that at milfordmirror.com.
In Reading being linked with Easton via a high school. Again, they are near the top of the state in per pupil spending. Story you just brought us on Coffee Break, the vote against temporary stop signs on Umpalog Road. There will be repaving on Route 58. Seems like every road down there is being repaved this summer. Story on the Georgetown Farmers Market and the variety of produce available there. And a concert on the green those being held each week in Reading.
All right, John, well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Trumbull Times. Some nice photos by Lisa Romanchik of a Midsummer's Eve secret garden tour. Always cool. Those are great fundraisers, and they'll be doing that there, so very cool. Also, a marathon mama inspiring 5 swim across the sound teams there. And a story we mentioned last week, THS grad Tony Horton, recognized for his contributions to fitness and wellness. He's just become a huge name in the fitness industry,
has.
P90X, and all that's come after that. So it's very cool. He has Trumbull roots.
Very ominous picture, yet very strikingly beautiful on the front page of the Darien Times. That by Thea Bolton, who is a lifeguard there. This is a thunderstorm rolling in at Pear Tree Point Beach in Darien. Really just a great shot there. Two stories, actually, in which the candidates for state representative in the 141st District, which represents Darien and part of Rowayton. This is a Q&A with each of them. Randy Klein, the Democrat, who is challenging Republican incumbent Terry Wood. Police and the library are partnering for a Pokemon Go crawl. That's coming up that's in Darien. The police have a map of Pokemon hotspots and a cook-off with Senator Bob Duff, who's been on some of our shows here.
Yeah.
Great friend of the network, involved in a cooking competition, which it just seems nobody can cook anymore without it being a competition.
That's true. But it's always fun to watch. All right. Well, taking a look at the Shelton Herald, do love this photo of Lark, the miniature llama. She was at an event that was supporting the Shelton Library, so very cute photo there. A more heartbreaking story that we talked about on Coffee Break earlier this week is a Shelton infant's death could be a homicide. There's an investigation happening. This was at a Fairfield daycare. They found a lot of Benadryl in the baby's system during a toxicology report. So I'm sure there'll be more coming out on that, but a very heartbreaking story there. And an interesting feature by Aaron Berkowitz, a resident playing taps every night to commemorate fallen officers.
Must be very haunting to hear that.
Right.
You were down in New Canaan?
Yes.
For the sidewalk sales. We have some photos up from the New Canaan Advertiser of that. Great shot by Rich Durazo. They had this bungee cord type device that the kids were using. I stayed off of it for
yeah, I didn't make my way over there either.
I stayed off of that. A talk of student privacy and the first selectman about development and his relying on P&Z and citizens to control development in New Canaan, a place where every development is a discussion.
All right. Well, taking a quick look at the arts and leisure section this week, check it out. In the Heights, opening at Center Stage Theater July 29th in Shelton. In fact, on last week's HAN Arts and Leisure, our show, the Scarpas were on to discuss that. So there's a very nice feature on that. Also, the twins, Judy and Joy, telling you how to keep cool with watermelon this summer. So some great stuff in arts and leisure. And of course, HAN Arts and Leisure coming up at 2 o'clock today. They're going to be talking about the Blueberry Festival this weekend in Trumbull. It's delicious and wonderful, so make sure to watch that. And of course, some movie chat. And John, you have Yankee Fisherman coming up at 1 o'clock.
Last Saturday, we went up to Lake Leelanau. We caught up with the young people who are with the Connecticut Bass Nation High School Tour. Had a great day with them, some very impressive catches, but it's great to see them out learning. We're going to continue our lessons in surf casting with Matt Lejeune. We've got some updates on some tournaments that we've talked about in previous weeks, and we've got some events coming up at 2 of our favorite museums.
All right, great. All right, that's Yankee Fisherman coming up at 1 o'clock today, 2 o'clock HAN Arts and Leisure. We're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but of course, we'll be back tomorrow at 11. Have a great day, everyone.